Welcome to Barkhausen Nature Bites. Today we're talking about something that's happening right now across North America, and that's the bird spring migration. Every year, over 300 species of birds are going to migrate from Central and South America, or even the southern United States, and migrate north for the spring and summer months. And then come fall, they're going to migrate back south, going over hundreds, even thousands of miles. And they're doing this not necessarily because of temperature, like it gets too cold from up here in the winter. It's more because of food. A lot of the birds that migrate eat insects and fruits, nectar from flowers like hummingbirds, and they can't get that up here in the winter, so they got to go south to find that same food. And then once it gets nice and warm up here, spring and summer, you have flowers and insects all over the place, lots of fruit, those birds are going to return. So they're going to do this twice a year. So you might be thinking to yourself, well, why even bother making that trip? I mean, it's a dangerous trip. They don't always make it, so why even bother? Why not just stay down in the tropics? Well, the big reason is it's a lot of this competition for that food. You know, up here in Wisconsin, obviously plentiful food up here for those birds, so they want to take advantage of that, and that ultimately helps out with their nesting success. They're able to raise more young per clutch, per nest, than birds that stay down in the tropics. So for the birds, it's worth it. It's worth taking that trip twice a year over hundreds of thousands of miles. And take, for example, like a hummingbird. They fly straight across that Gulf of Mexico twice a year. Something that for a while people thought was nearly impossible. And there was a thought that hummingbirds would ride in the backs of geese to get where they had to go. Kind of like a goose version of a goober, if you will. That obviously isn't the case, but just goes to show you how amazing this migration really is. And a lot of birds do migrate during the day, so like hawks, hummingbirds, swallows, but a lot of birds do also migrate at night. So it's really crazy to think about that literally when you're sleeping at home at night, there are hundreds and thousands and more birds flying overhead each night. And the reason they migrate at night is because there's less predators. The hawks aren't active then. The air itself is calmer. It's not as many thermals rising off the Earth's crust, so the air's a lot less turbulent, so it's easier for them to fly. It's cooler, so if you're a bird constantly flapping your wings, you're building up quite a bit of heat, what keeps you nice and cool. And also they'll use the stars and moon to help them navigate to find their way. And on a good clear night, you can go out and listen, and you'll hear little call notes, little chips and tweets, and those are the birds communicating with each other, these big mixed flocks of all sorts of species, and they're just trying to stay together, flock, maybe even warn each other of like obstacles in the way. So listen for those call notes on a nice clear night. Another cool thing about birds when they migrate is that there's so many birds migrating at night that the radar will actually pick it up. So what will happen is right around sunset, a little after sunset, birds will take off, they're going to migrate for the night, and over the radar site, it'll look like a big green blob will appear, like a big rain cloud, but it's not rain, it's birds. And that big blob will be over the radar site all night until right around sunrise. Then that blob will disappear, and that's all the birds coming down, landing for the morning, and they're going to eat like crazy, because you can imagine that after migrating all night, they're starving. They're going to eat like crazy in the morning, take a little break, and then continue on the journey that night. So it's really fun to actually see this on radar, and so I actually attached a video where you can see radar sites across North America, and as the sun sets and rises, you'll see the little blobs around the radar sites, and forgive my terminology, blob, that's the best way I can describe it. Blobs around the radar sites, how they grow or they shrink, depending if it's sunrise or sunset. So again, birds are migrating at night. It's a really cool thing that's happening right now. On a nice clear night, go outside, look up, and just listen for those call notes. Imagine all the birds flying overhead, and think to yourself, was that a raindrop that just hit my head, or was that something else? Thanks for watching Barkhausen Nature Bites.